All right, hi everyone. I'm going through all of the elasticity things that I can remember to do. This is something that you guys can also use at the end of the year to study for the exam, which is why I'm videoing this. I don't think I would use it as a AP thing video, and it's going to be a review video. Okay, so starting out with price elasticity is kind of measuring the slope of the line. How much does it change in quantity versus change in price? And so let's start with perfectly elastic, okay? And the straight up and down demand curve, supply curve would just be normal. And then we'll also talk about these in terms of taxes and such. So when you're looking at this curve will shift and it will cause this sort of change. And the tax box goes like this. And the big deal, it's all consumer tax, okay? And price quantity. And so if you saw it in a total revenue test form, you would see that the quantity wouldn't change. This would be an item like insulin for somebody who has diabetes. Price goes from 5 to 7, and you're still going to have the same amount of quantity, 10 and 10. And so then it just becomes a huge total revenue increase from 50 to 70, okay? So that is graph number one. It's all consumer tax. And the coefficient, that's the one thing I forgot, the coefficient would equal 0, all consumer tax. Now from there, I'm just like going to work through it like it's a clock as far as the demand curve. So we're going counterclockwise, I guess. So do I want to put that on there? No. Let's put it right over here. I got enough room. Okay, let's go to inelastic. So the coefficient for this is between 0 and 1. So the number is greater than 0, but less than 1. And it's a decimal. 0.25 would be an example. At this point, you're drawing a demand curve that looks sort of straight up and down. Make sure it's distinct if you're drawing it on your graph. You're trying to do inelastic. But the consumers in this case are going to pay the majority of the tax. So there's an example of a tax box. I know that doesn't look very much like a box. But right here, the consumers are paying the tax right here. Did you see the producers? The consumers pay the majority of the tax, and the producers pay the tax there. There's your producer surplus, consumer surplus. And then if you're dealing with total revenue test, you're going to have price is going to change a little bit. So, or a lot. No, a little bit. Price changes less than, quantity changes less than price. Let me redo that. Price went from 4 to 6. Quantity went from 9 to 8. And then that's going to create an increase in total revenues. Put TR where it should be. 40R. What was I thinking? 48. And then this would be 36. So because total revenues increase, as price increased, therefore, it's an inelastic good. From there, we have, I'm going to erase the perfectly elastic to go to the unit elastic. Unit elastic is all about equals. So unit elastic would be 1, and the rise and run are the same. So your coefficient is 1. It would be a 45-degree angle. I'm just trying to do that as perfect as I can. And so if you're going to do a tax box on it, you're going to go ST like that, S, and it should be about equal between consumer tax and producer tax. So I don't think even my equality there isn't really great, but you get the idea. Consumer tax and producer tax is equal. In terms of the total revenue test, the total revenues would be the same. So this was my one where you have to kind of like flip and multiply or whatever. So price is, let's just go 1 and 2. Then quantity would be, I have to flip it, it would be 20 and 10. Got it? And then you would end up with total revenues being equal. So 20 and 20. Got it? And then you'd end up with an unit elastic good. Okay? Erasing over here, going to elastic. Okay? In an elastic good, the demand is straight, more like an E. They're all straight. S. Then you go S tax. This tends to be an ineffective good because, an ineffective tax because it loses a lot of quantity. It would lose a lot of tax base. So going down to here, here's my tax box. I go here from the top line, you'll see that the consumer tax is smaller than the producer tax. Forgot to note this area, guys, is the dead weight area. I hope you guys know that at this point. And then, so producer tax is greater than consumer tax in this example. Total revenue test, the change in quantity is greater than the change in price. So price, quantity, TR. Then you got to go price changed from 3 to 4, quantity changed from 10 to 5. Then you went 30 to 20, okay? And so price is going up, total revenues are going down. There's an indirect relationship between those two, and that becomes their coefficient, I forgot that again, is anything, the number needs to be greater than 1. So 2.5 or 30 or 100. Anyhow, you get the idea. It's any number greater than 1. Okay. Final one here is, this one is going to make more sense when you get to the firms, but it is the perfectly elastic thing. I don't think there's a good example in the world. Whoops, that's a demand curve, no supply. Don't do that. Okay, supply decreases. It does not have a tax box. So I don't even know if they could ask that question. And then what's going to happen is the coefficient would be infinite. I understand it right. And then I don't even know if the total revenue test matters on it, but just remember that as a perfectly elastic good. And why we deal with it is because in firms, price will be perfectly elastic, and that's how it will get described. Final things with this, inferior goods are those like beer and frozen burritos, bad beer and frozen burritos that are negative. And then that would be a negative coefficient. It just means that when income goes up or recession is in, these things are bought more. When income, sorry, I said that backwards. When income goes down, you buy more cheap beer and you buy more frozen burritos. When income goes up, you stop buying those things and you buy warm burritos. Anyhow, I don't know, or whatever. Nice artisan beer. Don't buy beer. Guys, don't buy beer. Okay. Oh yeah, you buy Taco Bell. Yeah, okay. And then don't confuse these with cross elasticity, which is dealing with substitutes and complements. So remember that that substitutes are negative, complements are positive, and then there's unrelated zero goods. So like peanut butter and bubblegum, unrelated, equals 0. Okay, just on that one, the change in quantity of one good, Y, is, measured against the change in price of the other good, X. I think that hits the review video, and then you guys will watch that later as we get to the end of the year if you didn't watch it tonight. All right, bye.